Hello, this is Just One Guy, and I'm here to talk to you about a game I'm making called DragonForged. It's an action RPG with heavy intrigue and online elements. I modeled this game after shows I like Game of Thrones and stuff like that. It's a medieval fantasy type game, but it has a heavy focus on intrigue. The games I was playing, like Skyrim and Dragon Age, I noticed they had some intrigue elements, but no one really focused on it heavily. This game is going to focus on it heavily, but it's not going to forget the action. It also is going to have a dynamic action system, so you can have a character that you can play complete combat, where you go through and you can attack people, or you can have a heavy intrigue element where you're a spy and you're buying and selling secrets, or you're talking to people and manipulating loyalties. Now, it having such a heavy intrigue focus, its NPCs are very intelligent. Each NPC is going to have a job and a life and a family. They're going to have, because it's based on, you have to manipulate NPCs to your side. You have an army, but each member of your army can be manipulated to the other side. So you might have one of your people trying to assassinate you in the middle of the night or something like that. And to accomplish this, you have a fully fleshed out intrigue class. You have a combat class and an intrigue class. But the NPCs, they're very intelligent, so you have to use your abilities to manipulate them and get the NPCs on your side. Now, this comes important when I explain. This comes into play more importantly when I explain some of the other elements of the game. Okay, now here we have an example of the classes. You see that you have a combat class, a personality class, a race, and your house info. I'm going to explain each of these. The combat class is 4 classes: the warrior, the strider, the mage, and the alchemist. The warrior is your basic powerful type. He's going to get in with the sword and he's going to do a lot of damage, and he has a lot of health, and he's basically good for being a tanker and stuff like that, or a high damaging character. The strider is more of your rogue character. This is kind of hard to explain because in this game you can not only just fight on land, but you can climb like Assassin's Creed, and you can climb up monsters like Dragon's Dogma, and you can swim. This guy is like your basic assassin. He's good at you have a climbing bar energy. He's got a lot of climbing energy, so he can move real fast, climb up walls. He also has a hook where he can climb up the wall faster. He throws the hook to the top of the wall and he kind of zip lines up. And that's basically what he does. He also does a lot of damage and he's really fast, but he has like low health. He can't really take a lot of hits. The mage does the highest damage of any class. The mage is basically, my idea for a mage is, I want you to like shit your pants when you see a mage. A mage like throwing fireballs should be just amazing. He's just like, he does a shit ton of damage, but he has the lowest health. Like, if you can't get to him, he'll destroy your characters. But if you can get to him fast enough, you can kill him pretty easy. The alchemist is different. Alchemists in this game are basically mages that didn't have enough money, magic, to fully become mages. So what they did is they became alchemists, where they use light magic techniques. Now what he does is he used more kind of like a science space mixed with magic. He used bombs and potions and stuff like that to upgrade himself and do a lot of different stuff like that. Now the personality classes. This is what I was talking about the intrigue elements. You got the lover, the liar, knight, and spy, and slaver. Each of these classes, in this game, each character has a loyalty bar. Now, it goes from 1 to 100, and that determines how loyal the character is to you. Now, you can give any character in the game that's an NPC, you can give them orders. And the loyalty, it does a loyalty check. The loyalty that the character has to you versus the loyalty that it has to whoever the order harms. So every time you give them an order, it'll check that. And if you don't have enough loyalty, or that character or the enemy's loyalty is greater, then the character's not going to do it. If yours is greater, then the character's going to do it. And these classes help you manipulate that loyalty. You've got the lover. What he does is he creates a bastard in your kingdom. He basically tries to sleep with someone you love, or he manipulates someone into loving him, and that's how he gains their loyalty. If he can create a bastard in your kingdom, then he can have the bastard assassinate you, and that bastard will rule your house and rule your kingdom in his name. The liar. it's negotiations in the game. Basically, you have a title and a land, and the enemy has a title and a land. Now, what the liar can do is you can negotiate. Like if you don't want to directly surrender or directly attack someone, you can negotiate to pay them off or something like that. Or you can also take hostages in this game. He's the only person that can lie during negotiations, and he can basically lie during conversations too. The knight manipulates loyalty, but mainly on the battlefield. But he doesn't only do that; he also manipulates strength and other stats. But he mainly manipulates loyalty in battle. Like on the battlefield, he can gain the loyalty of your people and his people. Or if you become a Dark Knight, he could demoralize your people into not attacking him or being afraid of him. The spy buys and sells secrets, and that's how he gains loyalty. Like he'll it's kind of hard to explain. I really have to demonstrate, but he can basically go in and he can listen for secrets, and when he finds a secret, depending on how powerful it is, he can manipulate the person's loyalty. The slaver is for a class who doesn't really want to deal with the intrigue, but he commands complete loyalty from his people. His people are very hard to manipulate, but it's also hard for him to gain more loyalty. So if you turn one of his people, he has a hard time turning them back. And then you have the races. I might change some of the names of these races, but it's basically the human races, the elven races, but it's basically the dwarves and the orcs. And each one of these have 3 sub-races with their own individualities. I don't really want to talk about the races right now, except for the basic things, because I don't really have character models for the races, only some of them. But when I get more character models, I really go into detail. But the basic elements is Cairo are like African Americans. They're black, but they have like a blondish light color hair. The Britannians are like the Romans, but they have glowing blue eyes. The Sunyaku are Asians, but they have glowing red eyes. The Vampire are an elven race that they use blood magic to basically become vampire-like. It's kind of hard to explain. I'll get into it later. The Dwall are like your normal elves. The Kalkistari are black-skinned elves, like literally black-skinned. They make good assassins, and they hide in the night. They have a special connection to the night. And then you have the dwarven races. The dwarves, they're really all the same race, but they believe in like 3 gods, and they're very religious. And depending on which god it is, it basically goes through these 3 things. And I'll go more into that later because it kind of delves into the lore. And then you have 2 orc races, the Urukite and the Daikar. And I'll have to go into that later, but basically one is smart and one is strong. And then you have your house info, the name of your house. This is just a test screen right now, because in the actual game, you won't start off with a house. You'll start off as a normal person, and you'll have to build your way up and basically take over the lands, because there's in the original game is about 20 forts and I think 4 castles, and you'll basically be going around and taking them. But it's also like dungeons and stuff where you can go around and you can battle monsters, and the monsters have a special effect on the game because you have a bloodline too. So when you have children, your children can come out with the same racial features as you, but not only that, the same stats. And I'll go into that a little bit later when I explain the gameplay. You have your house name, your house info, and your house words. This is just a test screen right now, just to get it going, and just for testing purposes, I'll put in something. Right now, I've been working a lot on it online, and the game works online. It's fully. That's why the test screen is here. As you can see, I can fully host the game, and this puts it out to a server, and anybody else who is connected to this can actually connect to the game. See. A little bit of a glitch right there, but it works. And those are like the soldiers. Now I want to start talking about NPC growth, because that's very important to the game. You level up like a regular RPG and you have a bunch of stats, but the NPC here, he also has a bunch of stats, and he levels up just like you. Now this is important because not only can the NPC betray you, like this guy right here, he could